Hey, and welcome to the Conscious Coach Show. I'm Scott Weddell. I'm a part of a new breed of service providers you've probably never heard of before. We don't allow our current capabilities or credentials limit our vision and actions. We take responsibility. We face our own demons, and we're the example of what we teach. We deeply care, and we've dedicated our lives to helping other people, but we're not scared to ask for help ourselves. We're not selfish, and we're on a mission to share our message, knowledge, skills, and experience to as many people as possible so we create a ripple effect in the world. We're well aware that we're human, and we've got to fight against our own limitations, fears, resistance, and also the opinions of other people who don't resonate with us. We do things differently. We focus on our own journey. We shift our own paradigm. We improve 1% every day. We choose to lead by example. We can't turn our passion off. So how do we do that? If you take a long, hard look around, you'll see the market is full of coaches talking about other coaches. We're different. We focus on working through our own insecurities and dropping our own egotistical selves so we can truly lead by example. We're conscious coaches, but we're much, much more than that. We're paradigm shifters, we're healers, we're motivators, we're light workers, we're communicators, we're creators, we're leaders, we're teachers, we're educators. We're just like you. Normal people who've chosen to be different, who've chosen to step up, stand out, and be different. Normal people who've chosen more than normal. And we're entrepreneurs at heart. We may be conscious coaches, but changing the world is what we do. So welcome guys to episode 1 of the Conscious Coach Show, and I'm blessed to have Christopher Duncan joining me today, who is he's the owner of multiple businesses and he's done multiple millions in revenue. So I've brought him here to help you guys understand how to become more of a conscious coach and how to actually set your business up and set your life up so you actually create more freedom for yourself, because Chris has got total freedom, and that's one of his businesses is total freedom. And honestly, this guy's an inspiration. So I'll hand it over to you, Chris, to just introduce yourself to the guys and just tell your story. Where did you come from, and where are you now?
Inspired. Thanks. Hey man, it's cool to be here. People like you inspire me, and for you to get out and to create a show and to do this and to get the message out to people as inspiration. So I really want to congratulate you on this, and everyone out there watching, make sure that you subscribe to this, like the stuff that Scott's doing, because he's going places. So for me, I'm very fortunate now to have 8 companies that generate me a beautiful lifestyle. Travel to, I think it's about 22 different countries over the last 6 years, and have been living in multiple different countries and locations, having total freedom, as you said, speaking on stages to over 100,000 people in a movie with Tony Robbins and the Dalai Lama, Ariana Huffington, and done some cool things, Scott. And it's nice to be able to say that, to, have the 2 number 1 best-selling books. But the truth is, it wasn't always this way. When I started out, I was a personal trainer, and I was stuck. I didn't know what to do, really. And I'm sure most of the listeners know this, where you feel like you are putting gas in your car to get to a place just to make enough money to then pay for that gas to go in your car to get to that thing, and you're not even enjoying your life. And I had that moment. I ended up going to a conference, and this guy on stage, there was 3,000 people in the audience, and he had charged $3,000 for me to be there. And I quickly did the math, and it was $9 million. He made $9 million in 4 days. And everyone else was there, like clapping, like their life changed. And all that I did, Scott, was like, I'm going to do that. I was like, screw that, I'm going to do that. And so I quit my job later that year, and I started a business and kind of continued on like in the personal development world. And 4 years later, I found myself with speaking gigs in multiple countries. I was flying from Australia to New Zealand to Thailand to Singapore to Canada to the US, and walking in and speaking. And I found freedom through education. Here's what I found is, and I don't know if the listeners know this, but the adult continuing education space is an $80 billion industry. And the e-learning space is 15 billion of that 80 billion. So the e-learning is tiny, but is growing massively. And so the one thing I realized was I could create education that changes people's lives. I could put it online and I could get paid for it again and again and again. So this is what I started doing, Scott. And then what I found is other people started coming to me saying, Chris, how did you do that? And I said, well, why don't we partner? And I built it for them. It's their face, and then I earn a percentage in it. And so now I've got these 8 companies. You don't even know it's me. And there I am earning all this money, doing all these things and having freedom. But here's the most important thing that I found is if you've got something to teach, it is time to position it, package it, put it online, to promote it, to systemize it, and then have it pay you, have it change lives so you can live a life. And so that's what I do now. I'm so passionate about it. I get to spend my day coaching, inspiring, leading people. Or like yesterday, I took the day off and just got to hang out and experience life. So I'm excited to be here, man, and excited to serve everybody, because the one thing that I know is, for me, it was just a decision. It was just a decision. I just decided I was going to do that. There was one thing I know about successful people, and anyone listening, I want you to hear this because it's huge. This was one of the biggest things for me. Successful people must believe in a future, even though there is no current proof that that is what they can do. They have to believe in it with no proof. Their past can say the opposite. Yeah. And you look at, Martin Luther King gave us a secret. He says, I have a dream. Yep. He didn't say, I see a world that's broken. He just says, I have a dream. And so that's the thing what I understand is successful people live in that dream. And so anyone listening is live more in your dream than in reality, and you'll get there fast.
And I'm so glad you said that, because one of the big things that I put out there when we're talking about a conscious coach is a conscious coach doesn't allow their current capabilities limit their vision. They look forward, and they believe in something bigger than themselves, and they believe that they're already there, and they believe that they can do that, and they see something bigger than themselves and move towards it no matter what anyone else says. And that is being conscious. That is one of my definitions of it, is actually living in the future but coming back to now and just knowing that you're there and trusting the process. Absolutely, that was perfectly put, and I'm glad you said that, because it's completely aligned, coincidentally, with what I believe. So that's amazing, man. But could you, obviously you've achieved so much, and you've just, everyone must be thinking, wow, if he can do that, then I can do it, because I'm a human being too. But could you let everyone know what should be your biggest challenge so far in your journey, your biggest setback? Could you just let everyone know maybe how low you've been at one point in your life, so they can, if listeners are here and they're at a low point in their life, they can maybe relate to you, or they can maybe see that they've not been through as much as you, and then look where you've got to.
Yeah. Well, I think in life you either get what you ask for, you get what you judge, or you get what you need to grow. And I think in life, if you look, you're either getting what you ask for, you're either still judging or resisting it. So that's showing you up, or you're getting something that you need to grow. And so about a year and a half ago, my life got flipped upside down, about 15 months ago. So I was on track to have the biggest year of my life. I had secured the Gary Vaynerchuk gig. So I organized and promoted Gary's, and I'm sure everyone knows who Gary is. And he came to Australia, and we were the marketing team. I had the book go out. I had my second number one bestseller, and I got the movie with Tony Robbins and everyone else, and I got this. It was on top of the world. We were on track for a $4.5 million year. I was doing 2.5 million in the bank, and we were flying, and I did a big retreat in Bali. It was awesome. The beginning of 2016 was just on fire, and then overnight, my whole life and everything changed. My best friend and business partner was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident while in Bali, and so we'd gone there for the event, and he'd hung around and stayed. And he was on the right side of the road. He was not speeding. He was not drinking. He was wearing his helmet. And those of you who've been to Asia that are from, maybe the United Kingdom or Australia, New Zealand, or Canada, the way that they drive is different. They'll be on either side of the road, and so this truck just smoked him, and he was gone like that. And we'd been friends for nearly a decade and built companies together, and everything was entwined together. And so what happened because of that was financially a complete mess. I couldn't deliver on a whole heap of clients. I couldn't access bank accounts. So when that happens, you can't access certain things, and you have to close a business, and you have to pay all the taxes. Everything else just has to go get paid like this, no matter whether you got cash flow for it or not. And so I ended up hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt financially. Second is I actually couldn't deliver on all the things that we had sold and promised because he was so involved in it. So then I had all these people annoyed at me, and I couldn't do anything about it. And then, of course, I'm like at his funeral, completely emotional wreck. So all these things happen, and I end up, instead of being at the Gary Vaynerchuk conference that I'd promoted, this huge thing with an amazing team with Glenn Twiddle in Australia, I'd promoted this thing. Instead, I'm speaking at a funeral, and mate, I was completely just gone. And I remember it. I was on this beautiful lake with some really good friends of ours in the south of New Zealand, and didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I had to go and get myself back together. But here's what I realized. I want all the listeners to hear this: is it was the hardest, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The hardest thing because I had to dig deep. I had to look at myself. But here's what I had to understand is I had to go, you know what? None of that matters. I said, the end of the day, any of us can be gone like that, like in an instant. And I was so attached to my cars and my house and my thing, blah, 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 blah. And I realized that in an instant it can go. In an instant, you can do nothing wrong and you can be gone. And so I asked myself, I said, what do I want to do? What matters most to me? What really matters? And I asked myself and asked myself and asked myself. And I spent a month just disconnected and just asked myself, what the heck do I actually want to do? And I decided, I'm going to be the example. And so the biggest lesson in my life became the biggest triumph. So I made this big declaration on Facebook that I was going to build my business back, and I was going to pay everyone back that I had hurt. Everyone that had been hurt by this thing, I was going to pay them back. And so, bro, within 3 months, I was doing 6 figures. Within 9 months, we had $1 million, and with 12 months, we did $2.1 million. I created my business. I paid everybody back. I built it back up. I came back to the United States, traveled, and did everything. And so, I've had some lows, bro. I've had some lows, and so I resonate with anybody out there going through challenges for sure.
So one thing that I know you're big on is obviously working on your mindset and your energy. Yeah. So could you explain to the viewers how important that is and how much of a role did that play in you bouncing back? Because I know you must have been in a deep place. Your energy must have been all over the place. Your mindset must have been going all over the place, and you must have been focused in so many different directions instead of focused in one direction. So could you explain to people how you done that internally as well as externally?
Yeah, well, thanks for first, I had a lot of good people around me. And so shout out to all of those amazing people that were around me and supporting me and cared for me and loved me and helped. So that was huge. When you've got nothing to lose, the only way is forward. And now I'm in that place where I don't feel like I have any attachment to anything anymore. And I think we've discussed this as well, where if that was all to go, I'd feel the same now, where before I was so attached to it. So mindset is everything. It's the law of attraction sucks. I always say this, but the law of attraction sucks. Like, it completely sucks. It doesn't it just attracts how you feel. And so however you feel, that's what you're going to attract. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It doesn't have a conscience. It just says, I'm going to give you how you feel. And so The law of attraction completely sucks. And so if you're out there feeling frustrated, feeling lack, that's all you're going to get. And unfortunately, if we've grown up in a situation full of judgment or abuse or not enough money, we had no choice about our conditioning. And so I always say this to people is, getting that focus on what you want is, it's more important than breathing, because you can be breathing and living a really crappy life. But if you have focus on what you want, only what you want, not what you don't want, and you get that, and you can 100% be in alignment and congruence with that which you want, and you can feel it now, it will show up so fast. It will show up so fast. So yeah, it's huge, brother.
Yeah, it's like, that's completely inspirational, and you're so right about the whole law of attraction thing. I think people just, they go to woo-woo on it, and it's just a law of nature, and you've just got to understand it's not got an off switch. So you've got to be on top of the way you feel on a daily basis, and that's why I definitely 100% believe that if you're not changing the way you feel on a daily basis, then you're never going to move forward, and you're just going to stay stuck in your past, because your body won't let you move forward. And I know you've done a lot of studies on epigenetics and stuff like that. We are pretty similar with that kind of stuff. And what you've just explained there is rewiring the cells in your body to allow you to actually take the actions to actually move forward, because if not, you won't actually take those actions, because the emotions generate the actions. Emotions drive actions, for you to take to get you to where you want to be. So yeah, 100%.
There's this point for all coaches. And what we have to understand is, no matter what's happening, your brain is trying to keep you the same. So if you're listening this and you switched off as soon as you heard the word mindset, oh, I've already done that. It's the biggest BS story I ever hear is, oh no, I've done enough. The truth is if you don't have it, you haven't done it. But our brain is going to try to say, oh no, you've done enough of that. You've read 500 books. You've learned enough. One of the biggest things for coaches, Scott, is that I feel that we've studied a lot of things, but we feel like there should be an end. And oh no, I've done enough. I've done all these courses. I've spent $50,000 doing stuff. It's like, yeah, cool. But you need to be it. And so my next book coming out is When You Be It, You Will See It. It's a take on Wayne Dyer's title, but you got to be it, and then it's there. If you're not it, it's not there. And so there's things you need to shift. So law of attraction, manifestation, mindset, magnetizing what you want. It's more important than breathing.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. So now we've covered that, the sort of mindset side of things. What piece of advice would you give a coach that's probably stuck in a place right now where they're still trading time for money? They're probably crashing out, burning. The days are getting longer and harder. And one of the big patterns that shows up with coaches that are stuck in that place is they start putting their clients and everything before themselves, and then they start breaking the relationship with themselves. They're looking for freedom. They're looking for leverage and freedom. What would be the one big piece of advice you would give a coach in that position to get out of that position as quick as possible?
Yeah, I would say stop trying to get out of it. Start. I would say congratulations. I'd say you are freaking awesome. You're amazing. You are self-employed, and get back to appreciation of how good you've done first. That'd be the first thing I'd say is, remember when you didn't have this. Remember when you didn't have enough clients. Remember when you were struggling. Remember that. So just first feel really good that you're burning out. Like, this is a good thing. Feel great that you've got so many clients that need your attention, that you have a challenge now of how do you focus on yourself. So that'd be the first thing is I always want everyone first to come from a place of, you've got to have it first. So if you want to feel freedom, you need to feel it now, because the truth is if you're listening to this on your phone or on your computer and you're using the internet, and you have time to sit on your phone, the internet, if you're there, you're the 1%.
Yeah. True.
So if you're listening, you're the 1%. There is no reason why you try to go tell some kid in Africa or in some other part of the world, you go try to tell them why you don't feel abundant right now. See how that conversation goes. Well, I don't feel abundant because I've only got one MacBook Pro. I don't have the new version. I've only got like the iPhone 5, and I've only got enough for one Starbucks coffee a day. Like I like still get to like go to the bathroom in clean water. Like, gee, I'm so not abundant. I don't have enough freedom. And so the first thing is to understand that we can have it right now. Because once you allow yourself to have it right now, you get into there, you're going to start feeling better anyway. It's a complete choice. Now, of course, as human beings, we are always wanting to expand. I believe in life where we're supposed to grow.
Yes.
And it is time, but the challenge is to be able to know this statement and own it, which is, I'm completely satisfied with what I have. But I desire more. I desire more. So you got to be able to feel the abundance and the freedom now. So, yeah, I don't know if that was the exact answer you're thinking I was going to give you, but that's the place I would love people to start from.
To be honest, I love that because it's a lot of people are reacting to life rather than staying in conscious action. And I'm going to bring that word conscious back up because that's why I believe in the conscious coach. Is that the coach has got to be conscious in my eyes, otherwise they're not going to operate at the highest level. And it comes from being present in the moment, like you're talking about, but present in the moment in a way where you're happy and grateful for now, but eager for more. And that's actually something I write in my journal every morning. I've got it right there. I'm happy and grateful for everything now, and I'm super excited and eager for more. I write in my journal every morning, man, so I'm happy you said that.
Nice.
But nah, like, it's amazing how whenever I speak to someone, like yourself, when I come on an interview with someone, we hardly talk about business strategy because it's probably one of the easiest things, the business strategy, and the hardest thing is to actually get that person into a place where they'll allow themselves to do it.
Right.
So I just love conversations like these because it's going to help people understand how important it is to actually work on themselves first.
Right.
And first and foremost, put themselves first in that day so they can then allow themselves to take that action forward to where they actually want to be from a place of actually appreciating what they've got now. Powerful. Yeah. Very, very powerful.
I mean, it's really simple. Business is incredibly simple. But you've just got to be able to believe it and be there and to feel it. And, you've got to be it first. And that's the whole message, brother. So I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, man. But let's just give them one tip. If you could pick just one tip to get them moving forward towards like their freedom and launching their online program, launching their educational product you were talking about. Just one. What would be the first like step you take strategy-wise?
Oh, that's a good question. Build an audience. Build relationships with people who have audiences. You can keep selling your one-to-one product while building an audience.
Yeah.
And you can keep that. The people that I see are the most successful are the ones that are able to build an audience, hire an audience, buy an audience. And my favorite way to build an audience is by relationships. You see, if you can go out there and build an audience of 1,000 people, but if you go build relationships with 100 people that each have 1,000 people, and they will promote you, you're 100x where you were. So I find relationships and audience building to be one of the most, if not the most important thing. It's hard to just answer this as a one. The second thing would be to focus on just one leveraged product.
Yeah.
So if you build an audience and have one leveraged product that fits inside what you're already offering, it's such a great way to start towards it. So say you're doing one-on-one and you're doing 4 calls a month with them. Well, if you just took off one of those calls and instead said, hey, we're going to be doing these 4 group classes as well, and you still get 3 calls, they're going to be incredibly happy. But what this does is it gives you a leveraged product to start now offering others who can't afford your one-to-one. So, but if it was just one step, it would be build an audience.
You could just keep going and going and going. Yeah, step 3, step 4, step 5.
Right.
Yeah, but step 1 is audience building. I call it like an audience building machine, and there's loads of ways to do it. Like you do it organically, paid, and for partner. And your preferred one would be just to get out there and start connecting with people that have got audiences already.
Dude, no question. Here's what I know, man, is platforms change. Like I had a huge list on Periscope, then it dropped, platforms change. I don't know how long email marketing is going to stick around. It's probably going to be bots by the time someone's listening. No one's going to be on emails. I don't know, but here's what I do know is there are people way smarter than me at building audiences and marketing. And I just want to be friends with them. Because they're going to go out there, they're going to keep building it and building and building audiences. And then if I'm friends with them, I can then go and say, hey, look, let's do something together. You've got the audience, I've got the product. Let me come in and share something. And if I sell some stuff, I'll give you some money. That's the one thing that will never go away. So it's like to me, it's the safest long-term strategy is just having all the connections. And it's easy, it's free, it's simple. So building an audience, building referrals.
Yeah, man. So just to recap, it's pretty much make a decision you want to change, appreciate where you are now, then literally get your audience building machine in place, and whatever one that is for you, if it's building partners or whatever, get that in place and start running that while you're still doing what you're doing, but just create time to actually invest into building your relationships, then start focusing on building your product that's leveraged, and just rinse and repeat.
That's it, brother. That's it.
So that's 4 steps. Really, really simple 4 steps for people to take away today. But yeah, like one question as well, like that's popping to mind is, obviously this is the Conscious Coach show, right? So I'm very interested to find out what people's definition of that would be. So what would your definition, if you were just to pick your own definition, what would be the first thing that came to your mind if I asked you what's your definition of the Conscious Coach?
Well, to me, being conscious is always asking yourself what's the highest purpose and what's the highest good for everybody involved. So a conscious business would be a business that helps the customer or client and then charges a price that's the right price to then pay for great staff, and then treats staff really well, and then also charges the right price and has great staff so they can pay for the building and pay for the land, and then also that there's money left over for the owner. So it's conscious, so it's the highest good for everybody involved. I see a lot of unconscious businesses where just the owner's winning, or I see lots of businesses as well, the owner's not winning, just the staff are winning, or they're so cheap that just the customers are winning. That's not sustainable. So that's my definition of conscious is what's highest and best for everybody involved. Now as a coach, my definition of a coach is it's different to, I think, what other people think. I truly believe a coach is somebody that enables someone else to be great. And so a coach's job is not to be a friend. It's not to be a mentor. It's not to be a teacher. A coach's job is there to help the other person be great. So if I put the two words together, it's coming from the highest place and highest good for everybody, making other people be great. And that's why I was inspired to jump on this session with you, because I truly believe in coaching. I truly believe in consciousness, and I truly believe in everyone listening.
Awesome, man. Last question I'm going to leave you with, mate, is a really, really, really good one. You're going to give people massive value with this. If there was one book you could recommend someone just to kickstart their journey on understanding more about, like the main topic we spoke about today and covered today is more about consciousness, like about human consciousness. If people wanted to go in and study that and start to learn more and open their mind to that, what book would you recommend?
Oh man, I just allowed to pick one.
Let's go for one. What would be the first one that pops to your mind?
Gosh, to understand consciousness, this title might put people off. but I truly believe it from a person who's never been religious or gone to church. Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh is it's a beast of a book, and if you want to understand about who you are in a way that that is conscious and spiritual, his book is fantastic. If I just had one.
And there's 3 of them. There's 3 of those books. There's part 1, part 2, part 3. So
Yeah.
one will lead to 2 more books at the back end of that. So yeah, just like, obviously that's amazing. Like, thank you very much for joining me today. Like, you've just given so much value in such a short period of time, which is exactly what these interviews are about, being efficient and delivering value. So if people want to connect with you and if people want to find you and are interested in learning more about you, where is best to find you, Christopher Duncan?
Yeah, well, thanks, man. It's definitely been a joy. The easiest place is to go to. I've got a gifts page. It's just called giftsfromchris.com. And on that page, you'll see, how to do a webinar, how to start your business. You can get both of my books for free. There's a 4-part training series on finding your niche. There's 7 Day to Success, mind reprogramming. So it's all there, giftsfromchris.com, and go get some free stuff from me. It's definitely the best place to start.
Yeah, awesome, man. So yeah, guys, I'll make sure I link that below this video or wherever it is I'm posting it. I'll make sure the links are there so it's just easy for you guys to access and go through. But Chris, thanks very much. I really, really appreciate it, and we'll be catching up very soon, my man.
Of course we will, dude.
Awesome. Speak soon. Thank you for listening to the Conscious Coach Show. I really, really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And remember, it's your job to step up, stand out, and be different, and take your message to the world and make your difference in the world. Now, if you're a coach or a trainer looking to move your business online, or you're looking to add an online program to your current business, then click the link around this video or audio and come through to that page and download your 5-step guide to launching your first online program. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll speak to you very soon.